When most people think about climate change, they often picture this or this and even this. And these images matter, but they also make climate change feel far away, abstract, and untouchable. For me, climate change looks very different. It looks like Dundee, a small town in northern KwaZulu-Natal where I grew up. By the time I was a child, Dundee's coal mining days were pretty much over. The town was slowing down, shrinking, jobs were scarce, young people were leaving. I didn't grow up in a booming mining town. I grew up in a town learning how to live with loss. And that shaped me because I saw very early on what it's like when an entire economy collapses and leaves no plans for the people left behind. And then there's Glencoe, Burnside Glencoe, a few kilometers outside of Dundee, where my maternal grandparents and family lived. I grew up hearing stories about neighbors and routines in a community that once thrived. And today, all I see is broken homes, empty fields, and silence. And that silence is not just the absence of coal, it's the absence of futures that should have been. And it reminds me that climate change is not just about melting ice and rising sea levels. It's about places like Dundee. It's about families like mine in Glencoe. It's about people who built their lives on industries that the world has already moved on from. This is what climate injustice looks like. Not melting ice at the poles, but communities melting into silence. And so here's my idea. We must humanize climate change. It's not just about polar bears and carbon. It's about people, places, and dignity. In the 1980s, nearly 20 mines in this region closed down in a single year. Imagine what this does to a community. Jobs gone, families leaving, schools struggling. Coal built Dundee. But when the world no longer needed its coal, they left without a plan for the people. And the truth is, coal didn't just fuel South Africa, it fueled climate change, which means towns like mine paid twice. Once, when we gave our coal away to the world, and again, when the world moved on without us. I didn't set out to work in climate and energy. The sector found me. My very first project as an intern was energy efficiency. Now, let me be honest. Energy efficiency is not the sexy baby of the energy sector. Nobody wakes up one morning and says, I dream of buying an energy efficient fridge, but it's the world's first fuel, the quiet hero. Efficiency is invisible, but powerful. It has saved us millions of rands and created a number of jobs, proving that the cleanest energy in the world is the energy we do not waste. And then there's renewable energy. We often treat it as a buzzword, but the truth is, in towns like Jeffreys Bay, wind farms are powering thousands of homes while reinvesting back into communities. Again, this proves that clean energy and renewables are not just about power grids. It's about powering people too. And there's more. South Africa has minerals, manganese, cobalt, nickel, graphite, to create an entire battery value chain. Batteries could be our next new industry. Not just powering cars, but powering whole communities. And when batteries and renewables are done right, it gives young people a reason to stay. So in towns like mine, where the future once meant leaving, it gives them new dreams, and new hopes. And we know the future must go further. There's something new on the horizon. It's invisible, it's everywhere, and it's powerful enough to change the future. Some people call it science fiction. It's hydrogen. It can store and transport at scale. It can decarbonize sectors like steel, shipping, and chemicals. And it could place South Africa at the heart of the global clean economy. So, what is green hydrogen? It's a clean fuel we make from water using the sun and wind. That's why we call it green hydrogen. And it gives us energy without the harmful emissions, leaving only water behind. And here's the exciting part. South Africa is one of the best placed countries in the world to produce green hydrogen. We have some of the world's best sunshine, strong coastal winds, and deep ports to export these fuels. We have what it takes: the sun, the wind, the critical raw materials to build an entire clean energy future. And the world is interested. They want clean fuels. And South Africa could be a supplier, yes, but more importantly, we could be a leader, which means towns like Dundee, Richards Bay, Middelburg don't have to be forgotten again. They can be part of the global clean energy future. Green hydrogen doesn't just connect energy sources, it connects industries. It turns renewable power into foundations for manufacturing, transport, and building new value chains right here at home. And these value chains can ripple outwards, creating jobs, building new skills, and giving communities like Dundee a reason to hope again. Because green hydrogen can compensate for what coal is losing. The skills of coal miners, safety experts, process operators, mechanics are not wasted. The same hands that once dug coal can maintain hydrogen plants. The same railways that once carried coal can transport clean fuels. Coal towns that powered the past can power the future. And let me be clear, mines do not have to be abandoned. They can be reimagined. Abandoned pits can store water, mine lands can host solar farms, power stations that once burnt coal can host renewables, batteries, and training centers. And let's not forget the human side. When coal jobs were lost, it was the woman who often picked up the pieces, stretching every rand, walking further for water, keeping the children in school. Women are the invisible backbone of a community. And the youth, growing up wondering, will I also have to leave home to survive? A just transition should give them a reason to stay, a reason to hope again. Imagine Dundee, not abandoned, but reborn. Its shafts hosting solar farms, its land rehabilitated into agriculture, its railways transporting green hydrogen. Where coal once paid the bills, green hydrogen can write us a new check, one that doesn't bounce on future generations. Coal gave us growth without justice. Green hydrogen gives us a second chance to get both. So, what does this transition and justice look like? Picture Dundee in 2050, schools powered by solar, youth creating new industries, women driving clean energy initiatives. A town not remembered for its coal, but for rebuilding a fairer future. This is a real transition. Not replacing coal with solar, oil with hydrogen, but replacing exclusion with inclusion. And there's another piece we must not forget. The just transition is not just local, it's regional. Africa cannot afford to compete with itself. Because if we see each other as competitors, we only repeat the fossil fuel era. Extraction without justice. What if we face the world with one voice? Because climate change does not stop at our borders, and neither should justice. And one of the most powerful renewable resources we have isn't sun or wind, it's human potential. And women and youth are our greatest untapped potential. This is my family. And today, more than half of them have moved out of Dundee and Glencoe. Pretty much my parents remain, and a few families here and there. They are not just a reminder of what was lost. They are the reason I stand here today. They remind me that we cannot afford to leave people and places behind in this transition. Climate action is not just about the carbon emissions saved. It's about protecting homes, futures, and families. And so here is my pledge. I will keep working so that towns like Dundee are not left behind in the transition, whether it be through energy efficiency, renewable energy, batteries, or green hydrogen. I will make sure that every community has a place in the clean energy future. Because for me, this is not just professional. It's highly and deeply personal. And when people talk to us about climate change, they'll keep showing us glaciers and polar bears. And yes, these images matter, but if all we see are bears and ice, we forget the Dundees of the world, the town, the people, the families. The fight against climate change is global, but justice must always be local. We must humanize climate change, hear the voices, see the faces, and ensure that nobody is left behind. Because in the end, the measure of climate action will not just be about the amount of emissions saved. It will be about the lives rebuilt, the futures secured, and the dignities stored. Thank you so much.